Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the question and answer session with Griffin Gaming RPG, Fist25, and Jawa Sparky. We're talking about CitizenCon. This is our 24-hour live stream. Make sure you donate if you haven't already done so. We've raised a total of $1,826.50. DFX just recently donated $5, and it looks like we had Deepa donated $20 as well. So yeah, if you want to help us out, !charity in chat. And if you're watching this after the fact, charity link down below. That link will be up all throughout October, because it's probably going to take me until October to put all of these sections up, because this is let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 6th section, and I'm only going to get through half of them. So this is the halfway mark right here at the end of this session. So I still have 6 more sessions to go after this. Wow. So even if I drop it twice a week for a month, it's going to be it'll be probably not until November until these are out. Not until 318s are live until these come out. So
we hope.
Yeah. So with that being said, these are all questions. We're gonna take questions directly from the chat, answer these. So if you're live in chat, make sure you ask questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. We do have 9 questions, so it's pretty good. One Flame asks, if skills are ever make it into game, what form should it take?
I think CIG talked about that already, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's asking, like, what would you like to see it? Because he says he's hoping static selections of character creation, not anything that makes it hard for newbies to compete. Because his question, his concern, I think, is over a lot of people, which is the imbalance of the system, where people who have been around for a long time and grinded up the system are going to have an inherent advantage, just because they were been around, and it's not really solely about skill.
Well, but they said the systems that are Twitch based are not going to change. So
yeah,
you may be able to eke out a little more before you black out in a dogfight, or run a little bit faster, a little bit further. If it's significantly, then I think that would definitely cripple PvP a little bit. But what do you expect as a new player? Do you expect to be on a completely even balance? I mean, this game is one of the hardest learning curves in gaming, maybe close to like EVE Online learning curve. And you're not going to get this game in the first 2-3 hours that you're playing it to be able to compete PvP with other people, either flying or on FPS. So I don't know. I want to see what they come up with, and I think as they see the imbalances as they go, they'll probably be pretty perceptive to the community and what we want to see, and other AAA games, and
mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of people have compared it to Tarkov. This system is similar to what they have in Tarkov, and there are similar systems like that in in the Elder Scrolls and other games like that, and GTA San Andreas had the same system. Kind of a passive system.
Yeah. I just think that, in fact, the other night, Fist and I streamed Red Dead Redemption, and we had a pretty good time with that. And what I like about that game, it's you can get better skill levels the more times you do it. So I think that maybe if they did something like that, that the more time I spend mining and the more times I spend successfully mining, without the Quantanium blowing up in my ship after about 45 seconds, it's maybe I can get some more skill, and maybe I can find rocks that have higher percentages of what I'm looking for, or something like that. Or maybe I get a little boost on my payment. Maybe I don't pay as much for refining. They could maybe do the same thing for salvage. I'm not sure how that's going to work quite yet, but and then Fist, who does dogfighting, maybe for some of the missions, maybe he gets a little extra something because his skill as a dogfighter is higher. I don't think our ships should be able to turn faster or something like that, but I think that the skill of the player ought to build, what their skills are. I'm a
Mhm.
miner. I like doing that. I'm probably going to get into salvage. Fist, he is a dogfighter. We have friends that are outstanding at PvP. We have one that somehow she brings a knife into like New Babbage and such, but they're good at those type of things. And Paul, as a teacher, you know that um, we have students that are really good at certain subjects and
Mhm.
not as good in others, and they spend more time in the ones that they're good at, and they get better at it.
Yeah.
I,
I,
I was
Griff.
gonna say, there's an offset to that, which CIG has kind of alluded to, but I'm not sure they've connected the dots this way. What you could do is what is natural progression in the sense of skills based upon time and things you do, and then how those skills can be supplemented instead by supplements. The different various foods and buffs may be the artificial means for someone. So, for example, if Jawa has been in the game for 6 months and his stamina has been increased by 8%, but Griff just came into the game this week, there may be one of those funky flowers or some drink or something that I can drink that gives me a buff temporarily, maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes of a buff of 7%, 6% to help me compete against him. And over time, as I start to build up my natural things, then I can be in the same space he's in. But they could come up with artificial means, temporary artificial means to help people compete at a certain level. But like you said, Jao, it can't be like, somebody's 40% stronger than somebody else. It's just got to be just enough of an edge. And again, CIG could do that with supplements, drinks, those wonderful smoothies, all those other things that they have in the game.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's just a lot of conversation about this already. I'm torn about the skill system because I don't know if Stress Citizen needs a skill system. Like, it's fine. Adding if they add the skill system, my question is more why. Like, what's the purpose of it? What can you do in a skill system that you can't do with any other system by adding to the game? Because, like, as Griff pointed out, and as other people pointed out when we talked about this, is we already have a stats system. We already have a stats system with like debuffs and buffs for like health and for like food and hunger. Like, why couldn't you just extend that system rather than coming in with like a passive attribute system? But I think honestly, when I first saw it, when I heard him say that, my immediate thought was, oh, regen. That's why they want to make people care about their characters.
Yeah.
I was going to mention that well, Jawa brought up RDO. The when you die, that it's a extremely forgiving regeneration system, right? I mean, you're literally spawned right next to you don't lose anything.
Yeah.
Just a few minutes of time maybe, and you're right back into the action. With Death of a Spaceman, that's not how that's going to work. I do want to say skills should go to some sort of crafting one day, to where we can build a modification, an amplifier for our mining laser, and if we get up to that top crafting level, hey, we could build the best modification thing, and then we can maybe sell it on an auction market or something like that. I don't want to go too crazy like the Old Republic or something like that, where you have to rely on that to to play the game. But I don't see it affecting gameplay in any fashion except for PvP, where you would have to have that edge against another player. When you're playing in group play or solo, it's just, who cares? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm a little better at dogfighting against than I was last week because I can take more G forces and not black out. So
Well,
yeah,
and I can even see with PvP, like people going, oh well, it's unbalanced. It's like balance. There's never going to be balance for PvP. Let's be quite honest. This is a game that's not going to be balanced for PvP. It's not designed to be balanced for PvP. There will always be an advantage. The goal that CIG has is simply to not make a meta. And there will always be some way like, oh, well, yeah, fighter pilot. Like right now, light fighters are the king of the skies. No one can beat a light fighter. It doesn't matter what you're using. They will beat you if they have enough skill while using it. But they want to change that, and they want to evolve with that. So I think a lot of people who may also be concerned about this system may not be taking into account any of the other systems that will be put in place when this skill system is implemented. like death of a spaceman, like more severe health consequences, like insurance, or more penalties, like higher penalties for reclaiming your insurance, and any of the other, like reputation as well. So all of these things will factor into these abilities a little bit more over time. And I think I know why they want to do it for Squadron, because they want to reward players for playing a specific way. So like if you are very good at running and gunning, over time you will get better at running and gunning, that character will. And if you are better at being a fighter pilot, you will get better at being a fighter pilot the more you play that style. So if you try to do a different style, it'll be a little bit difficult for you to do because you're so, spec'd into one area for Squadron. And for Star Citizen, it can work a similar way because you want to reward players for being really good at what they do. And this is one of those things whenever I hear a PvP say, but what you have one ship versus one ship, and the second I hear that, I go, no. If you have one ship versus one ship, then one of those two people has failed. Probably both of them have failed at combat. Because if I'm outnumbered, I've failed already. Like I'm never going to go into a fight willingly that I don't know I'm going to win. It's just, I mean, I know Jawa and Fish, you were both in the military. It's like there's no such thing as fair fight. It's if whoever wins.
No, yeah.
Use
every advantage you have, and over advantage. That's the motto of the U.S. military, right?
Yeah. So that's kind of how Star Citizen's going to play in the first place. It's just like, yes, a talented pilot may be able to do well against a group of people, but eventually that pilot's going to reach their limit and they're going to die if they're trying to do solo. So,
well, I think once we know more about their overall grand scheme of not only the skill system, but how that ties into reputation, how that ties into Death of a Spaceman, and all these interconnected systems, I'm sure they have some kind of crazy chart where they all tie in, and future, what is tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and it'll make more sense the more we know. I know Yogi, a lot of people had questions about master modes, and Yogi put up some stuff on Spectrum, and it eased some of my concerns, and it's like, well, okay, so the more we know, and the more we know that they thought about this stuff and how it's going to play out, the better I feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like it's obvious we already have things like reputation drain. If you don't do a certain thing, it starts ticking down. I can imagine that being the same thing with skills. If you don't constantly use that skill, you'll eventually get ticked down. Soft caps exist, so you don't have people who are over abusing the system. So you can only gain so much a day. You can also have a tiredness system where you get a certain boost for skills if you've had a full certain number of times logged out in a bed. But then, over that certain time, you start losing, like you start gaining it less and less, and then just maybe not at all. There are different ways they could adjust this system to make it more fair and interesting and unique, and to prevent people from grinding it. Because that's the one thing I do not want to see from this system is an incentive to grind. Like just sit here and hold boxes for 12 hours. Like that's not a game that anyone wants to play, and I don't think anyone should be forced to play that just so they can get 2 points of strength so they can punch a little harder.
Yeah. At the same time, I don't want to see microtransactions come in there.
Exactly.
To where we buy 50 gold bars, for $100, or because people will do it, and now you can get a better dogfighter skills in 24 hours. You can gain 200 times experience with it or whatever. So
I also think that a lot of people don't want Eve. They don't want to have the Eve Online thing where you have to spend like 4 years to get an actual character that could be usable. So all right, let's move on to the next question. I think that covers 2 questions. Where it's like one flame asked that, and another one asked, like, could it be like COD where your guy struggles to get the mag-in weapon until you get better at that weapon? The more you do it, the reload time's faster, aim down sights a little bit faster, that kind of thing. So, all right. Jock Cop asks, John Crew said they need a new mining ship between the Orion and the Mole. Did they forget that the Odyssey exists? The Odyssey cannot mine anything but Quantanium.
Yep.
It's all it cannot mine. They've confirmed that. It can only mine Quantanium.
Which is why I melted mine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shame,
But
shame.
I do like the kind of in between um the one because you can mine with it or you can haul a rock around with it. They were saying it's an all-purpose miner, so you can mine with the rock, you can mine with the ship, you can get out and
Mhm.
hand mine. Fist knows that I've been asking for that for about a year and a half now. I want something that I can do that with. Um, and just a plug here that I don't think RSI should make that ship. I mean, it should be a MISC or an Argo because those are the utility. That's the utility company there. Those are the utility ships. It's kind of like, yeah, Mercedes is going to make a tow truck and make it so everybody has one. What? No. So yeah, it's
That'd be Origin, bro.
yeah. Hey, watch out. Origin may make a mining ship. Who knows? But again, I want a ship that I can do all modes of mining in. That'd be great. FanDuel Mining Company.
Parky in the chat does point out that the Orion is RSI. So
Yeah.
RSI
I know.
This
They
question
just-
comes up every single time. Which one did you choose? Orion, Argo, or MISC? Let's start with you, Sparky, Jawa.
Argo.
Argo, Fist,
Oh, RSI for sure.
Yeah, shit.
Griff.
RSI.
Oh, come on. Yeah,
See, this is the Argo side because I voted Argo as well. See, like Argo and RSI. And RSI is going to win anyways, but
Yeah, just put them over there.
Yeah.
And my favorite ship is Anvil, but
Yeah. They're not gonna
you know what it is? It's because we already have an Argo and a Prospector. We already have MISC and Argo represented.
Mhm.
It's going to be a long time before we see the Orion. So I'd
Mhm.
like to see that middle. I'd like to see a couple middle ships.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to see an RSI, maybe a an alien mining ship, a Crusader ship. Probably not Origin.
We talked about this with on Info Runners, whether we have a theory where every single ship that we have currently will have all of their different sizes. So, like refinery, we only have the Expanse, but that's like a small mining ship, right? We still need a large refining ship and a capital refining ship as well. So we need to have more refining ships than just the Expanse. We need to have more salvage ships than just the we need a capital salvage ship, and we need a small or like a medium salvage ship, like a mole version of a salvage ship that we don't have yet. So
wouldn't that be the Reclaimer?
The Reclaimer's a large one.
So that's considered large. Okay.
Yeah,
So
and it also has
like
processors and stuff like that. So something that would be like a Reclaimer but smaller, but not have all the claw and the chunks.
Right.
But something like the smaller without the refinery, and then maybe some but like slightly bigger than the Vulture, multi-crew per person.
Right.
So
I would love to see a Nostromo type ship where you've got the ship that can detach from the refinery like an Alien. Your refinery is this big monster that's out in deep space, and you can attach and detach from it. That would be like so cool.
Yeah,
I
would think that would be the Orion's niche,
granddaddy.
right?
Yeah, right. That's what I mean. Yeah, like the granddaddy to the Orion, because the Orion, but you're still stuck in space in that thing. I'd love to be able to detach from it, and go down to planets, come back and bring stuff back to the refinery.
Yep.
Yeah.
Me too. That'd be fantastic.
All right, let's move on to the next.
Mitchell says bring back strange eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's someone said Argo will just be two moles welded together.
Yeah.
And you make a cargo bay for your rock. Right there.
Yeah, well, you can always throw like a pickup bed on the bottom of it or something.
All right, next question comes from Metagen Cybrid, who asks, do you think CIG should allow ships with external missile pods that are not bespoke to a ship to carry bombs in the same range size as missiles? For example, the Gladiator's external missiles could be swapped with bombs but not size 5s in the internal bay. I mean, personally, I think all missiles should be swapped with bombs. It's fighter bomber things have been existed in reality for years, for decades, for almost 100 years now. Fighter bombers have existed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The idea of having a fighter bomber does make sense. So
hard point's a hard point.
Yeah.
Well, no, but sorry, Griff. I know you're chomping at the bit, but it depends on where the missiles are at. Some ships have their missiles stored up top.
That's
Some
true.
of them are on the bottom, right? And I wouldn't. What are you gonna do? Just kind of a bomb out or kick? So I would say they should go like what we have now, like a pylon that you can add to something and for a smaller size, and maybe you take a gun hard point out for a bomb hard point, and that on most applications should work. For that type of thing, whether it's your missile rack if it's on the bottom or something, or hey, maybe we have a propelled bomb that then drops. I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities, but I 100,000% yes, that should be a thing.
Yeah, I think at very least anything that has a missile pylon, that exterior missile pylon, should be able to be replaced with a bomb of some kind. Anything that's bespoke missile carriers, like the internals of the freelancer miss is not going to have you're not going to replace that with a bomb. It's a missile carrier. Right. But the wings, it has bombs, it has missiles on the wings. You could probably replace those with bombs as well. Yep. So, and I also
would you expect
go ahead.
Sorry, would you expect some kind of a damage cap system per ship? Not granted, it's going to cost money to put these things on. Maybe you have to go to a special place to get them, or you can only buy those bombs in certain places. But we shouldn't necessarily have every ship have every capability. And,
you may need like an adapter, kind of like how you have to have like with the missiles. You can either put like a size 3 missile hard point can hold a size 3 missile or 2 or 4 size 2 missiles or whatever. That kind of like variation. You just have something like that where you put on a bomb dispenser on those sides, which would require you to purchase them specialized, and different sizes and stuff like that. So, not necessarily DPS ordnance, but the hard part with that whole thing would be is that a missile mode and a bomb mode are 2 different modes. So you need to have a ship that could go into both, which would be the difficult part of doing it.
Maybe on attack. The ship's like a 325, a Gladius type thing, because that's kind of like a modern day Hornet or something, F-16. Yeah. But like a Phoenix shouldn't, they got guns for defense. They're not going to bomb people. It's a luxury ship, 600i is not going to have that. But a 325, if we ever get a 625, or ships that are made for combat, I think should have those opportunities. Just like the A2 is the only one that can drop bombs out of the Hercules lineup.
Yeah, well, the A1 now.
Oh, true.
The Spirit. Yeah. But you also mentioned guided bombs. I'm like, yes, give me laser guided bombs. I want the ability for some soldiers on the ground for you have someone who's infiltrated Jumptown and they're lasing a target and they ride the lasers down onto the target. So they can go fast. They don't even have to really aim. They just have to drop it when they get over you. And then the laser is going to guide it in to where it needs to go,
Oh yeah.
People would want to do the lasers, because that would just be funny. A lot of people would be, yes, I'm going to sit there and laze this target for 15 minutes because I think it's hilarious.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
I know we try to avoid making the Frankenstein ship that does everything.
Yeah.
From a business model standpoint and from a gameplay standpoint, I see 2 different things. I see CIG wanting in some ways to force our hands to be dependent upon other types of ships for certain types of missions. And secondly, where does that hit them in the wallet when ships can do multiple things like that versus buying something dedicated?
The differences between a dedicated and a system that the dedicated systems are going to be better. They're going to be they'll have more, like, because you can imagine things like the Miss has those missiles that are inside of its bay. It's like size 7s or size 8s. They're like the same missiles that are used on the ballista. They're practically torpedoes. Like they're one shot within a certain amount of range. You can't dodge them. I know that'll change a little bit, but like they're designed to just destroy something. You're never going to see a size that missile like that other than a bespoke, like purpose-built area. So like I don't think you'll ever see like a size 10 bomb
right.
on another
swap
ship.
out.
Or even with the A1, it has like 10 size 3s it can drop or something like that.
Size 5s, believe it or not.
Size 5s.
Yeah.
So like,
but and don't get me wrong, I get what you're saying, because I appreciate you all said only certain ships should be able to do it.
Oh yeah.
I was just kind of curious, if there's impact there on those levels.
Yeah, and I think the business wise is like, I think CIG is waiting it's a perfect position to do like a fighter bomber, like a legitimate fighter bomber, a Typhoon style. Like in fact, there you go, CIG, the Anvil Typhoon. You're welcome. Yeah,
there you go.
They love their historical things, and everyone loves the Typhoon too. So like, just. There we go. Fighter bomber, perfect role. So
nice.
Well, I think of Anvil as American, and Aegis is the more British, classic evil villain type.
Yeah.
I like what you guys are saying there about the different ones, and it would have to be designated, a bomber or missile. But being an aviation ordnanceman, we could take out one of the pylons on the A4 Skyhawk, and you could put on another pylon. You could put missiles on it, or you could pull that down and put a 6-pack of bombs on there. You could do all sorts of different configurations. Other aircraft like the F-14 with the Phoenix missile, they didn't carry that on a pylon. It was a special not internal bay, but there was a special underside cutout for the Phoenix to go up in. So, okay, you couldn't put bombs on that. You couldn't replace those with bombs. But the external racks that some of these ships have, why not be able to swap one out with a bomb rack? And so you'll have the outside ones at a bomb rack, the inside ones at the missile racks. But then just by putting the bomb rack on there, it comes with the software that you can be a bomber. You can bring up that bombing reticle.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
If you don't have that on there, you don't have access to that reticle.
And if we're going with it, by the way, I'm thinking about this now. If we're going American, they just call it the what was it called? The Lightning. Sam. Just the Anvil Lightning.
Oh yeah.
No, they already have the Lightning, don't they? They have the F8 Lightning. Dang. I was gonna say Lightning's perfect because Lightning is the fighter bomber.
F-35,
F-35. Yeah.
You have the Lightning, and you can have the Lightning. You have the Thunder. The Thunder could be the bomber. There,
the Anvil Thunder. Yeah,
the Thunder. The Eagle. Yeah,
and the freaking name writes itself. When you need war, bring the thunder.
There you go.
Thank you, CIG. There you go.
There you go, CIG.
So let me give you a counterpoint there, though, Jawa. Well, certainly the F-14 was kind of built around the Phoenix missile, and that was its big thing. The Phoenix missile was never actually successful in combat ever, and it was mostly a failure. And it was such a cool concept, but the F-14 is an interceptor, right? It's made to be a fighter. It's not a bomber.
Right.
But I was on the very last cruise with VF-31, the very last F-14 cruise ever. And for Enduring Freedom, they wanted to be able to do stuff. So they took out the TARPS pod, which is the reconnaissance thing, and they stuck rock eyes up in there, and they indeed got to drop bombs on things. But they had to have software upgrades and all this other stuff to be able to get that stuff done and drop them accurately. It wasn't purpose built. It was much, much later in F-14Ds. And so if that mechanic can get into Star Citizen where I have to do all this stuff and get all these parts for Cousin Crows to modify, my Hornet Wildfire to have external pylons with bombs and then be able to have a less effective interface, but I could still have the option to do it like size 1, size 2 bombs. That would be awesome. But that would, I think, also take a huge amount of time to get those systems tied in. So
you could also, as Chat's saying, you could also use it as an avionics upgrade. Like you have to get
Sure.
the actual blade that is bombing targeting system to
Right.
install. So then you have to pull something out. Like if you want a Hornet, yeah, you can take that bombing targeting system, but that system that helps you in air combat or space combat, got to toss it, or toss the missile system
Right.
out. So you got to be entirely bombs instead of bombs and missiles. So
There should always be trade-offs.
yeah. Meaningful decisions.
Yep. And that's where crafting could come in too, as a and skills. I'm great at making new avionics blades.
Yeah. All right. Next question comes from Megagen Cybrid, who asks, "What do you think about ship resource stuff shown off, such as relays, gravity control, and atmospheric control?" Griff, what do you
We
think?
saw it last year.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. In fact, I looked at it just to prep for this show. I happened to look at that section, and I'm looking forward to this whole thing with vacuum, life support, gravity. I think it's just going to add a whole nother level of fun sandbox gameplay, let alone for missions. Because we've seen this stuff way back, way back with gravity. I think the old video we saw with the Retaliator, when they boarded the disabled Retaliator, and they went in and reactivated the systems and the gravity kicked in. Not to mention some of the ships have gravity wells in them, but they're just spinning around doing nothing. So I'm looking forward to life support and definitely gravity. And then of course they did stuff with temperature, heat, cold, all that good stuff. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff there.
Mm-hmm. Fist.
I can't wait to fly like Iron Man. And, I want weapons that are in my gloves. No, yeah, we thought it was John and I thought it was super cool. I think there's a lot more that's going to come out besides just those base systems, and really have the option to customize your ship and the way it functions in the systems. And I can't wait till that gameplay comes in. I'm super stoked for that.
Joe?
Yeah, we were watching the thing where they were shutting off the life support in rooms, and I looked over at Fist, and he had an evil grin on his face. I have a feeling I'm gonna die a lot more if we do that.
Are you kidding me? It's oh, what am I
Where's your helmet?
Yeah.
Gosh. Yeah. Go ahead. I was gonna say, like, everyone is going to try to kill each other. Like chat is going to just randomly remove the oxygen on all of our rooms the second they get a chance to. It's just what happens.
Yeah. But yeah, some of those relay things, we did see that last year. But I like the idea of it. But they took it one step further, that if you pull this relay off of here, you put something else there, and then go put something else on, like a bigger relay station, you can enhance some of the systems. And I thought that was kind of cool, kind of a cool idea to do. I too want to fly like Iron Man. So
one of the things I think is going to be interesting is the role of the engineer. For any of us who have anything bigger than, I'm not going to say bigger. If you got a constellation or above, you better start memorizing that sucker, man, because the panels for the different systems and components, some of that stuff you really have to look for. And in an emergency, if you tell somebody, hey, the starboard shield is out, if that person doesn't know where that's at on the hammerhead, your engineers are going to be worth a ton. If they know that ship through and through, and they know how to respond with the right component, or like you said, pulling the right module or the right fuse, man, they're going to be worth their salt. Because I'm telling you, going and tell that guy who's in your gun turret to go do it ain't going to work. I can tell you that now. It's got to be somebody who knows that ship, and that's going to pay big payoffs when you can talk about which ships you've manned and the hours you've put into them. That's going to be really cool.
Yeah. But they did bring up the thing about the whole mapping. That you could bring up a map of your ship. If you're getting into a ship you've never been in before and you don't own it, okay, you may not have a full map of it. But let's say Fist has his ship and hey, I need you to go fix this relay here. He could throw a map out there and have like a blinking spot on it. Go
Jawa,
to this point.
Jawa, if I tell Fast Kark to go fix those shields and I see his Moby Glass come out right after, I'm punching him in the head. You hear me? He better know, man. I need to pull out your Moby Glass, start looking for it in the middle of a fight. No, your point's well made, though. I get it. You know.
And Fast Kart's in chat too, so
I know that's why I said it. Just the best with him. I know he's in there.
I personally, for me, space should be dangerous. Half of this game should be just not dying in space, and because it's so dangerous in space, I want every planet to try to kill you just from its atmosphere. I want EVAs to be a meaningful decision. Like if you're EVAing, you better know what you're doing and know exactly what you want to do, because you may not come back if you're not careful. I want the like temperatures and fuel and everything to have resources, so that when you leave, if you're in the middle of a fight or you go off well prepared and something goes wrong, you may still be in trouble. Like the only reason why you didn't die immediately is because you were prepared enough, but now you're in trouble and you need help, you need rescue, you need something else, and a reason not to just do the backspace regens express. So so I like these. All of these are great additions to the game, I think, and they're heading towards that new one. So all right, next question. Ayumi asks, your thoughts on cargo running new disadvantage with the new speed modes, i.e. no shields with QT modes and slower speeds with SCM. Seems like the modes do not help cargo runners when caught in conflict. Yogi has been very good. He went through and talked a lot about these questions. Specifically, the way he described it is, and I'll read this specifically because I've had this up for a while because I anticipated this. This went live an hour before I went live. Like this, he posted this comment 1 hour before I went live, 12 hours ago, just about. He said, we didn't really have time to cover all aspects of the changes. Here are some details from the shield interaction. When you swap SCM to QCM, your shields will not instantly blink away. I'm not sure if that was visible in the videos, but they collapse fluidly while the quantum drive spools up. So if the mode swap has achieved 50% of your shields, if the mode swap has achieved 50%, your shields will be down 50%. However, the shield health you had before is not completely lost, but dumped into a reserve pool, the maxed amount being a property of the equipped shield generators. Where this means that if you have where it remains until after you are in QCM. When you swap back to SCM, that shield health is immediately pumped into the shield faces. This takes a couple of seconds, but unlike normal shield regeneration, that process cannot be interrupted by weapon impacts of any sort. So shields get a part of their defensive capabilities back after some seconds. So basically, there are some nuance to the system where it's not just you lose your shields when you go into QCM mode. It's that as the quantum spools up, your shields go down. And eventually when your quantum is fully up, then you can go. And then if you get jumped, you get ambushed out of quantum, you can immediately turn to SCM and your shield will just go immediately back up in a momentary invulnerability to protect yourself. So it's not as bad as it seems. They just kind of transition. So I don't think it's necessarily a negative to cargo runners, but I do think it's going to say, cargo runners, start paying attention to your defenses. Yeah. Hire pilots. And I've heard people say, well, always, a good run is boring for any pilot because they just want combat. Pilots who just want combat won't be escort pilots. They'll be doing other things. There'll be plenty of escort pilots, people who just like to fly and are also combat pilots who will take jobs for escorting missions. You can also hire NPC escorts to help you out. You can, and most of the time you're not going to be dealing with player pirates. You're going to be dealing with 90% of the time you'll be dealing with NPCs. So there are a lot of other factors to taking place. What do y'all think? Do you think this system is unfairly disadvantaged cargo pilots, cargo players?
Would you mind tossing that link in for us so we can grab it? Because I heard about it earlier and I have yet to find it.
I'll put it in both chats so you can see it.
Appreciate that.
So while he's doing that, I also saw that thing from Yogi. And thanks, Jawa, for donating. We got $40 to go, guys. Let's hit that goal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
oh,
was
wow.
I'm so OCD. It was sitting at some weird and 55 cents, so I had to
Yeah,
fix
yeah.
that. But then I did the wrong one, and I had to bring it to an even number. So,
Yes. Yeah, we've
so if there's anybody else out there who's OCD, all we need is $40. That's
40
it. That's
bucks.
all we need.
Haneo donated 50, Escobar 25 cents, Griffin $25, DFX $5, Deepa $20. Yeah, we're almost there. Almost $40 to 2K.
So like I mentioned before with weapon systems, every system in the game should have trade-offs.
Yeah.
Right? You want to go fast? Well, that energy doesn't just come from anywhere. It has to come from somewhere in the ship, right? So it's coming from your shields. It's being rerouted to your engines, or to your quantum device or your jump device or whatever it's going to be. I think it's pretty darn fair. And the only question I guess I would have is with size 3 shields, because right now how slow they take to charge. It's going to be a little unbalanced because we don't have physical armor on the ships. Joe and I talked about the Caterpillar in those days of going over to Ariel, loading up with Laranite, heading back to Hurston real quick and making, you spend a couple hours and make millions. And those were fun, but they were risky because everybody knew you're either going to be a Bezdek or Lathan, and they had pirates, PvP pirates just sitting there waiting for you. So you had to, you better memorize that layout of that Caterpillar, because when you land, you got to get down to that elevator, send it up so no one steals your ship, run and get your stuff, run back, boom, hop out, fly to Lorville. And I got
crash.
super good. Yeah. I got super good at doing that. That was my cargo running days, and it was a lot of fun, but it was a lot of risk. I got shot down 4 or 5 times, and that's with full shields. So think about what Paul mentioned, hiring escorts, and that'll be easier when we have NPC escorts. 2, I'd like to see our components for our ships actually matter again. So maybe you get that quantum drive where it may not be the fastest quantum drive, but it transfers energy really quickly, and that's what you need for that type of mission. And then when you're in deep space, you swap it out for this other drive, or you're in Pyro, you need the super efficient quantum drive, and that's what you put in there. And that type of gameplay and figuring that stuff out and having those assets available and possibly losing it all if you get blown up. That's what that risk adds the adrenaline, and it makes risk makes things fun. And you can't have risk without having those trade-offs. And it's going to take a while to balance, but ultimately I think it's moving in the right direction.
What do you think,
So say we
Griff? Jawa?
It being one of those people that's not best at dogfighting, when my org goes out and we start doing mining, we always have somebody flying Overwatch. I think that, as Fist said, maybe have a quantum drive. Maybe it isn't the fastest one, but it spools up a lot quicker, so you can get out of trouble a lot quicker. It's kind of scary that if you're running cargo or doing mining or something like that, and you go from the just regular speed to spooling up the quantum drive, you lose your shields. That's kind of a scary thought right there, because a mole and a prospector, those are pretty big targets. So and people are just going to shoot them down left and right. So there should be, maybe for those ships, you can buy a component or something so that lag time isn't as long, I guess. Or
Can I interrupt you real quick, Jawa?
Yeah.
We hit the goal. We hit over $2,000.
Woohoo! Yay!
Great job, everybody. Woo!
Yeah, we're at $2,043.36. Randler with a 1336. And then Mount Center with the $50. Thank you for the center. And then Crom X with that $20.
Yeah.
Yes, congratulations. We'll have more after
3,000 in no time.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
actually, the next goal is going to be 5,000, and I'll
There
explain
you
why in
go.
a moment. So,
Cool.
Yeah.
Do it, do it.
I'm just gonna move the screen up a little so I don't see that weird number. Because we did make our 2,000 goal.
Yes.
Nice.
You were saying, was that it? The Fist was just interrupting for that reason.
Yeah, I was just interrupted for that. Sorry.
Oh,
Keep going,
but-
Jawa.
but yeah, no, that's my thought. It's like if somebody's doing dogfighting, and they go in there, hit and run, and they go in there, damage you or whatever, and then oops, I can't do this. Okay, it's not fair for another dogfighting type aircraft to be able to spool up real quick and not lose their not lose their shields, but like a dedicated mining ship. I mean, what do we have? A size 2 on the Prospector? I mean,
yeah,
it's
something like that.
I mean, there's really no way to defend itself except the mining laser does do damage to ships. I have found somebody passed in between me and what I was mining, and then they pressed charges against me because they were stupid.
Mhm.
But I just think that there should be a way for some ships to not have that type of problem.
I think there is some space because there's definitely some edge cases that they haven't thought about yet, which are things like low flying, racing, and other issues like that. I think this is the right direction still.
Mhm.
I just think it needs more fleshed out for those situations because I think like you can still get out pretty quickly, especially with the shields the way they are. It's just you need to be able to set yourself in a position where you're going to be able to escape fast. Like
Right.
there needs to be, and again, it's going to punish players who are solo, which is kind of the point.
Yeah.
The point is go, I'm a solo player. Just find groups of people, go join a flock. You don't have to be an org, just a flock of miners somewhere where someone's watching over you, those sorts of things. So
It does
Griff.
kind of punish. Sorry, Griff. It does kind of punish a little bit of racing.
Mhm.
Well, the only way you can use boost is in SCM mode.
Yeah.
You can't use it in any other mode. And Yogi said that they removed the ability to use countermeasures when you're in quantum boost. So
Mhm.
that's that in between mode, where you're going around, and that may be that doesn't really make sense to me because in a real airplane, you just kind of punch the button and countermeasures come out. It has nothing tied into with engine
It's
systems
gameplay
or
related.
weapons.
That's it. It's just about gameplay.
Yeah, it's a gameplay thing. I think that would help though if they're waiting for you to do something and they shot a missile at the last second
Mhm.
but your speed should be able to outrun that missile though. So
Yeah.
I could see that. I think they got to tweak it as they go, but go ahead, Griff. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay. No, I was going to say there's just a lot of stuff. Yeah, Jawa, you kind of alluded to it earlier. There's just a lot of stuff that sometimes everyone's reacting to what's announced because it's in the immediate, and we have to kind of look at what it's going to ultimately be. So, like you said, the fact that we don't have good armor right now, with the shields going down, if armor's there, that would be another factor. But there's also another side to this, is the tactical side of playing too. I used to play Eve and go mining in my org, but there were times when I would be moving major stuff across systems. But the times I did it, I had to take a different tactic to moving that stuff. I had to move it sometimes the oddest hours of the day. Sometimes I had to take extra routes that I wouldn't have normally taken. And I think even with the quantum aspects of it, I mean, when I go mining, the first thing I do when I get there is find a jump point and lock onto it someplace else. So that if anybody comes into the system, I can jump like that. I'm not trying to figure out where I'm going to go. It's already locked into my system. So, I mean, there are things that those of us who are on that other side, like me and Jawa, who are doing cargo or mining, we just have to be proactive about and thinking about ahead of time, not waiting till it happens and all of a sudden trying to figure out how am I getting out of this spot. And you can come into the system. I guarantee if I'm mining, you come in and lock on me. First, you got to find me first off. So you've got some things to deal with. But even if you find me, I'm probably 90% spooled by the time you're getting ready to push the button to fire on me. So I get away most of the time. So I'm not too worried about it.
We're already having the conversation in chat. People are like, well, if it's penalizing solo players, it's like, it's not penalizing solo players. I think a lot of people are making a lot of noise about nothing. I'm just going to be honest about that.
Right.
This is a lot of squawking for nothing because people are always afraid of getting pirated, and I'm sure someone's like, but Paul, you don't understand. I got pirated 15 times. Like, that's fine, but I have been pirated like 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a pretty big name. I don't have any shadow keepers keeping me safe or anything like that. And I was able to avoid them pretty quickly. And even in this new system, it wouldn't be that much of a difference. Like, it's about playing smart and playing with your skills and where you are and knowing where you are and planning things out. That's always going to be part of the game. It's just easier to do it when you have other people. You can be less paranoid when you have 2 or 3 people hanging out with you.
It'll be okay.
So,
it's going to be okay, guys.
Yeah.
It'll be okay.
Yeah. And it's something that we learn. I mean, I put in the chat, if I want to go mining solo, sometimes it is a little dangerous to go to Lyria or something like that. So I go to the Halo.
Yeah.
And but as Griff said, I already have my my refinery dialed into my quantum, and when I start seeing other targets around me, I'm done mining and I'm spooling up and I'm getting ready to jam. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like I said someone's going to come up with those things and people are already coming up, but I got this. That sucks for you, but it's not the average experience. It's an experience that you had once, and it's going to change as the game goes on, because you're complaining about a subject which is going to happen in the future with future updates we don't even know about yet. Armor isn't in the game yet. There are other aspects of the game which haven't been completed yet.
That's
Time
true.
to kill is going to go way down. Or way up, I should say. It's going to take much longer to die. All these things.
Can you talk about that, Paul? Paul, talk about that a little bit, because I don't think people understand. I know that people are used to how the game is now.
Yeah.
But this whole thing about destroying ships is not going to be that way later on. I mean, I think people, even though they talked about it yesterday, you're not going to be destroying ships the way, like right now. You know what I mean? Ships just get blown up. I mean, it's going to take work to blow up certain ships, especially the larger ships. They said they want you to spend minutes, like lengths of time, to destroy an Idris or a Polaris. So it's not going to be this.
You're not destroying. You're disabling. You're never going to
disable
destroy
it. Right,
ships.
exactly.
Yeah.
You might disable somebody, but destroying is a whole nother thing.
And so effectively, your ships are going to be designed. If you remember the power system they talked about the digital turrets. In the future, they even showed off those little fuse things. In the future, it is much more likely that those fuses are going to get hit rather than your systems.
Mm-hmm.
And when those fuses get hit, you will be knocked out until you repair those fuses. So you're less likely to just explode randomly, because it's going to be much harder to destroy a ship outright, because the way you have to destroy a ship outright would be to hit its power source, which would be very difficult to hit, and very easy to miss, because it's one small thing on the entire ship. Right now we have HP pools, but those will go away once they have these systems in place, so that it's not just you could sit there and blow away one part of the hull all day and you'll be hitting nothing. It's just like going through redundant systems and the whole way. That's it. And so as we go forward, it'll be much harder to kill somebody and much more easier to escape, as long as they don't hit those critical systems. And the fact of the matter is that we need that for things like medical gameplay. Think of it as like medical gameplay in the same sense. Like, getting hurt means that medics need to come and help you. Dying all the time does not help anybody, because no one cares. It's not fun and not interesting. And you also need it for medical gameplay, because if someone is walking on a ship and the ship, parts of the ship explodes and they get a tier 3 injury, now it's like, oh yeah, we need that sort of like the ship doesn't explode, you just get hurt. And going forward, all of these things are going to be adapted in that sort of direction. And I get some people saying, oh, well, but new players, it's like, you also got to remember that Star Citizen is 90% NPCs. We just don't see the NPCs yet, because the NPCs are garbage and they're waiting to fix all those systems to put in there. And when Pyro comes out,
standing on chairs.
yes.
Yeah.
And
I mean, Paul, to give you an idea, like many of our ships have ejection systems in them.
Yeah.
There's got to be time for that. You know what I mean? It's not going to be 15 seconds and your ship is gone. They've talked about how Captain Sparky's got to be able to know when to tell his crew, okay, it's time to abandon ship. That's not good. That's over a period of time. You know what I mean? We've realized we can't fix the ship. We can't replace the components. We're dead in the water, and we may need 30 seconds to a minute to get to those escape pods. So all that stuff on there is not for decoration. So, the idea of these ships just getting blown up left and right I don't think that's a reality. I think it's something we just assume is going to happen right now.
Yeah.
Target the fuel cells or target the power plant to start some chain reactions, how you actually blow up the ship
And they can
versus.
still stop it,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
if they have an
Yeah.
engineer on board. So
Well, it's not just that gameplay, but painting a picture of you disable a ship like a hammerhead, right?
Mhm.
And let's say it's got 4, 5, 6 people on it. Hey, all hands, we're about to be boarded because they want
Mhm.
our cargo.
Mhm.
Now you have that FPS gameplay loop where these people got to board you. You have to defend the ship. And then now you have, if let's say you repel the boarders, you could still use rail guns or whatever to try to take out their ship. Or
Mhm.
you have the salvage gameplay coming in there. You have the repair one day
Mhm.
gameplay coming in there. I need my engine fixed. I need a tow truck. Java's got an
Mhm.
SRV. Let's call up Samson and Sons, Fisting Java Towing,
Yeah.
and get us back to ArcCorp.
Hmm.
All this stuff, and it's all tied
Right.
into this 318 PES loop
Yeah.
of persistent cargo and why pirate someone just to kill them,
Mhm.
unless you're
Yeah.
bounty hunting and you're trying to get their dead body.
And
You want the stuff they have.
not to mention the
Mhm.
reputation hit you would get if you start killing people, because people forget that
Mhm.
reputation at its core is about how you act with other people. And if you're going around like a psychopath killing everybody, then no one will want to talk with you, including other pirates, because you are too hot. You are
Yeah.
very loud, and they don't want you anywhere near them because the cops are going to come looking for you, kind of thing.
Or
That's
the bounty
reputation.
hunters. Or the
Or
bounty,
bounty
hunters.
hunters. And so there's definitely a lot of trade-off, and these are all systems which are being built right now. And it's not like, these are all systems that we hope to have. And no, they're fucking being worked on right now. Like the SRV is being worked on. The systems, they already talked about the power play systems. They've talked about the, all of these other things. This edition is just an addition on top of all of these. These different transportation modes are just on top of that. And they're not even done yet in terms of implemented in the PU. So it's important to kind of keep those things.
Yeah, and I think
Moriar.
I'm sorry.
The other thing, he says, dead men tell no tales, but regen men do, because you all have regen. So you will all be back to life right away. So,
Yep, I think that the days of just people flying around blowing each other's ships up may be gone because of salvage. It depends on how lucrative salvage is.
Well, and they're bored. They got to
Yeah.
have more stuff to do.
Yeah.
A lot of that'll go away once we have more game loops in there.
yeah, we also have things like more players, and like players will be forced out of, because when we have more NPCs, we'll also have more cops. So as if someone's pirating, they're going to get interdicted by security forces more frequently. They'll be attacked more frequently, harassed more frequently. They won't be able to go to any stations because they won't want to talk with them. So you'll have to, you won't be allowed in Stanton. So you're going to have to go to Pyro if you're going to have that kind of gameplay, and that's where you'll go deal with NPCs and players there. So there's some natural herding that's going to go on by CIG's own systems that they're already putting in places. So. All right, let's move on to the next one. We got a couple questions left. What are the 319 rumors and what might it include? We don't know. Just that it's 319. The only thing we know for certain that was planned for 319 is the Arena Commander updates. And that was it, because they said they got pushed to 318 prematurely. But we don't know when it's coming. I think right now it's scheduled for the end of the year. So come after 318.
Was there nothing else on the roadmap for?
No, because they haven't updated.
Yeah.
They don't update it now until the end of 318. So they'll update it after 318 goes out. They'll know more. So
I think it's going to be a big bug fixing patch of 318 issues and tweaking things that they normally would have to do a database reset on, stuff that they can't just hot fix with a background service or something.
And Schick says all demos that CIG showed are single player gameplay. No, they aren't actually. Most of them are multiplayer, especially the 2018, 2019 was multiplayer gameplay. So yeah. Okay, can mark that. Monster Avi asks, do you think that skill points and such will force players into staying in gameplay niches and make it harder to be competitive outside your area?
No. But yes
I don't
and
think
no.
so.
A little bit. Like a little bit. You're going to be way better at mining if all you do is mining.
Yeah.
But
you can do that
it doesn't
anyways.
mean you can't go dogfighting. Right.
Yeah.
I think Twitch systems are still going to be the priority of the game and let you do other stuff because no one's just going to want to dogfight 100% of the time. Maybe a couple people, but not the majority of people.
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think it's going to be insignificant. You won't really experience it. Griff, what do you think? Do you think people are going to stay into gameplay niches if they have these kind of skill systems?
I don't think it's going to, I don't think the skills, I'm trying to think of like the things that I like doing, whether or not they would impact them or change the way I play. And I don't think so. I'm like what Fist was saying, there's certain things I want to do just based around when I'm by myself. There are times when I just want to change it for the sake of something different. And if I'm not good at something, I'll get good at it later when I do it. You know, it wouldn't weigh on me that much.
Java, any thoughts on it?
I feel the same as Griff and Fist do. There's, as Griff put it, there are things that we like doing, and we're going to continue doing those, whether there's skills around it or not. There are things that I'm not good at, and probably some things down the road that I'm going to not be good at, and I'm not going to do them. I'm not going to do that stuff. So unless I'm hanging out with a certain group, that's what we're doing. But I just think that this game, it may have its like little niche groups that like to do certain things, and that's what they like doing.
I have an organization that just collects artifacts.
Yeah.
So
we do too. We do.
Yeah.
Too.
So
yeah. But the thing is, one thing I like doing from time to time is just kind of blindly pick a moon or a planet, go land on it, and get out of my ship and walk and just look at the scenery.
yeah.
Screenshots, Java.
Screenshots. Well,
He's
sometimes you don't have to screen screenshots. Sometimes you just gotta look, because no one else can see it except for you at that moment.
Yeah.
Randy Lorm asks, some of the foods and drinks list some boosts. Any talk of when they'll be implemented? They're already implemented.
Pizza.
They literally already implement them. Energize just means that your stamina doesn't go down as fast.
Right. Or you don't get as hungry or thirsty as fast or whatever the case may be. Yeah.
Right.
I wish they would start adding more of that stuff in there. Like you said, pizza, the noodles, all of the other stuff is start kicking in.
Yeah.
I want to go to Ono.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I want to go to Ono with a date,
Yeah.
The weapons chick from Port Olisar, that's my girlfriend in the game. I want to take her to Microtech.
Yeah. It's I want pizza, but I also want the barista there at our co-op to start working again instead of just standing there staring at you. I haven't gotten a good cup of coffee in a while, but I do like that some of the smoothies and stuff bring up both your food and your drink. But chat was talking about a little bit ago that if you could drink one type of drink, and it'll make it so your loss, so you don't get thirsty as fast. That'd be cool. Or eating that type of thing won't make it so you won't go as hungry as fast. So because I usually have to carry a bunch of burritos in my backpack, and I don't know how safe that is. So
no, that's the wrong thing, man. Yeah, some of that stuff you got to watch what hydrates and what dehydrates, and some of that stuff makes you lose it faster than others.
Okay.
So,
okay.
The hot dogs, the burritos, all that stuff.
But they taste good.
Yeah, I know. Go for the jerky bar. The smoothies are good for you. You'll lose weight too, but Java. So just go with those.
So, someone's asking if there's going to be romance options in Squadron 42, and I hate to burst everyone's bubble, but they've already confirmed no.
No.
Oh, really? They've confirmed it?
Yeah, confirmed no. That they don't want
no romance, no kids either.
Man, I need Chief Rachel Coriolis to show up.
All right, next question comes from. All right, I'm going to skip that one because we've talked a lot about skill points and that kind of stuff. So, Epalin asks, how do you think CIG will handle getting ships in game? Stealing ships and selling them, finding abandoned ships and repairing them? I mean, you can buy them in game, and you will always be able to buy them in game. But like, you can steal ships or buy them from other players probably, and yeah, even finding them and abandoning them and repairing them. But there's a different status for damaged ships versus, like for instance, what is that one? Not the Black Kite mission, but the other Reclaimer mission where you have to do the investigation. You can actually steal that ship.
Oh, really? I just done the Black Kite one. I don't know about the other one.
Yeah, you can actually use that ship if it's busted. It's busted as heck. It doesn't actually function at all, but you can still use it. So they just have to have it just has to be in a damaged state and not a derelict state. It can't be just like destroyed.
Has CIG talked about reselling? Have they talked about that? Like if you buy a shipping game and you no longer want to use it, going back and selling it back to them?
That'd be cool.
I think they've talked about something like that, but I haven't been very explicit about it. So
okay, I was just curious.
It'd be nice to, that 890 mission where you can steal the 300i and go over to Grim Hex and fence that off or something.
Yeah.
Or, that'd be.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Something like that. Yeah, it'd be cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, so we've got a couple more questions, and then we're wrapping it up because we're coming to the top of the hour. Lefty says, if you're going to be dumb, you got to be tough. Play smart or pay the toll to the trolls. Is there a way to get this message across to new players? New player experience, some sort of new player experience where they kind of experience the full breadth of what it's like to play the game, and I'm sure they will in some way, shape, or form. But I also don't think it'll matter because when we get to that point, this time next year, the game is going to be a fundamentally different experience, just from server meshing, let alone anything else. Just the size, literally quadrupling the size of the gameplay space when they had in Pyro.
Yeah.
Because Pyro is 3 times the size of Stanton. So, or quintupling the size of the play space is huge. So even if they increase even if they double the number of players we have right now per server, which is, 120, so 240 players, that's still not going to be nothing. You're going to barely see that in that space between the two systems. So
You think they're going to have like a starting area like most MMOs have, where it's super lawful and you're going to do all your beginner missions there? You think it'll stay Stanton or go to Terra maybe? Or
I think there'll be beginner quest chains or some way you can go through some sort of training, you'll probably use the sim pits because those are the easiest things they can use, and just have them be like digital training where you're learning how to do things. But there'll always be some sort of like new experience that they'll try to do. So
can I ask a question and based on Lefty's question?
Sure.
You guys, do you think that Star Citizen will become something that people will not want to play? Because there's an assumption that everybody knows Chris's vision and we don't. Yeah. And I'm wondering whether the game is going to become too, like how Eve is, it's not niche, but you got to be a kind of certain person to play Eve. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you think Star Citizen will fall into that same category, that it is not the game for everybody?
I think CIG is going to do their best, but I think they'll eventually create a game that is going to be for a more niche audience. Not a niche audience, but they'll probably cater to a lot of different types of audiences, but it's never going to be a WoW where anyone can pick it up and play it.
You don't think it'll be the WoW of space? I hope it will be.
I do too, but
yeah, I don't see that either.
But maybe it's going to be the WoW of space, but there are people who don't like playing WoW.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it'll have the learning curve of Eve and take 4 years to get going, like Paul was saying. But at the same time, it's substantial, the learning curve to figure stuff out now, much less 3 years from now when it's going to be so different. I mean,
that's why I'm wondering, because it's fairly welcoming, you know what I mean? But people struggle with it now, but later on, I'm just wondering, because There are some people who don't like the direction of some things that they're doing, and I'm wondering whether there'll be people who they liked it in the beginning, but I don't like the way it ended up.
I can guarantee you there are people who think this game is something completely different than it's actually going to be, and they have thought so for 10 years. Because the idea of Star Citizen is a lot more appealing than the actual gameplay of Star Citizen.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Well, yeah. Somebody just put in. Let's see. It takes. Oh, that's about Eve. I mean, this game. There is a learning curve. I know everybody on this panel here has seen in chat and has helped out somebody who's brand new to the game, can't find their way out of their hab. I mean, I did that a couple weeks ago. I landed, went upside to this person's hab and told them how to get out. And then I had to take them over to the airport because they're at Lorville. Okay, you find on the first time. I mean, Fist, he was there when I first got in, immediately met me at my room, took me out, put me on a ship and flew me to PO and says, "You're going to live here for the next month until you get things figured out."
This is your new home, but goodbye.
Yeah.
But let me ask you something. I don't want to derail this too long, Paul, but I've wrestled with this because when they were talking about maps yesterday, I got a little worried about that. I actually yelled at the screen and said, "No hand holding."
Yeah.
Because I'm really tired of. I mean, I know that there has to be a reframing of our brains as gamers, but when you go to Lorville, there are so many freaking signs on the wall and ground telling you where to go, and yet we run around through that space as if they don't exist because we don't think about. Chris is trying to make something that's very close to real life. You look around, there's a sign that says trams this way. And okay. And there's a freaking map on the wall that shows the way the trains run. And I'm not saying that we've gotten dumbed down, but I think that the gaming industry has dumbed down gamers to a certain degree. That aspect of figuring it out. I don't want no freaking map in the corner of my thing that says this is where you go to get here, here, and here. I don't. That's me personally.
I agree, but I think one of the things, and I will counter that by saying, I don't know where I'm going all the time in real life, so I have this thing called a cell phone, which can tell me everywhere I'm going to go, at least the first time. And it's not. It doesn't tell me exactly. It'll tell me where to go, but if I want to ask where it's going, but if I go to the middle of Yosemite National Park, this thing's not going to be fucking useful at all.
Now, but let me ask you something. Let me tell you something, Mike. Okay, we've also got a generation of folks.
Yes.
That because they rely on that stuff, if they lost it, they wouldn't know what to freaking do with themselves.
I agree.
They don't know north, south, east, and west, right? So where's the trade-off, right? And I get it. I get what you're saying, but I'm just saying, I just don't want them to make it too.
That's what I was saying.
That's
like,
all. Okay.
If I'm in the middle of if I'm in the middle of Lorville, there should be some maps that I can pull up of Lorville. But if I'm in the middle of I don't know where on Hurston, no one's bothered to map that place. It's just like, good luck. You got a scanning software? Because otherwise I have no idea. Your map is just like no idea where you are right now. What the fuck? Where are you? Kind of.
Yeah. And
there's that trade-off.
One flame. I'm not trying to make it artificially difficult. I'm just saying if there are visual cues in the game.
Yes.
And I think that as gamers, we have, oh, Jesus Christ. Let me go back to freaking Zork, where you just had a freaking cursor that popped up and you had to say, look around. And they would tell you this is what's to the north, south, east, and west. And you said, okay, go west. I'm just saying we don't even look around anymore. We just want to get to the spot the fastest way possible. We blow past everything. We don't see anything. And as a gamer, I don't know, maybe I'm just more of love to explore the spaces and all the hard work that CIG has put in. And I don't know, I just don't want them. I'm not saying don't put any maps in. Okay, I get it. I can turn the map off. Just don't make it so hand-holdy. That's all I'm saying. Don't make it complete hand-holdy.
I agree with you, but I think there's some. It's like the difference between going to the well-known tourist areas of a city and then going to the other parts of the city that nobody else knows about. That would be the difference. It's like, you can pull up a mini map, but the mini map is not going to tell you in these certain areas would be good.
Right.
But like the interior of a Hercules,
Yeah.
That's a pretty well-known vehicle. Everyone should have a map of a Hercules if they wanted to find it, to figure out where they are. Not necessarily where they are, but like what they look like. That's the other thing I think is important. It's not necessarily, my problem is a map where you look at a map and it goes, you are here, and it's blinking. If I pull up a map and it's just a map of the city, I have to go, okay, where the hell am I? Let me look around and see where I am, and go, oh, I'm here. And then you can use the mini map to kind of figure out where you're going. That would be fun.
I'll buy that for $1. I'll buy that for $1. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Quantum Boost should help with that too, because now you're going to be just going semi fast, and you'll be able to see, oh, look at that landmark. I want to go see this crazy Stonehenge thing. Stop, turn around, go check it out, find a derelict. Boom, exploration gameplay, kind of.
Yeah. Because you still want to have the wonder. You still want to have the I found this weird place that nobody knows about. Because like I hate go here, do this, because then it just encourages the laziest gaming. No one reads the quest markers. No one does anything like that. They just go and do the thing. I press the button. A monkey presses button. Neuron activated. Like that's what the state of gaming is, and no one wants that.
Yeah, I do wish that we could save some of the places that we've gone to, though.
Exactly.
You go find that real cool place and go bookmark, or mark this on my map. Drop a pin.
Yeah.
Because. Yeah, I've gone to some places like that and going, oh, crap, where was it? Oh, I can't find it now. But
it happens on the Starfarer, you know.
That's what One Flame's cracking me up, talking about no maps for the Starfarer. People get lost on the Starfarer. Yeah, it's hilarious. It's hilarious.
It's easy.
But yeah, like those sorts of things, like if there was some active, especially no place in the middle of nowhere, having a way to like map out an area with like a ping and being able to like, oh yeah, I know this area because I can ping it now. That makes sense, you know, future way, but you know. All right, moving on. We've got 4 more questions and we're done. We're kind of wrapping this up quickly. One of the questions is, do you feel it'll get annoying to remove armor to get in a pilot seat or swap into clothes at port?
Nope, I do it already.
I like that idea.
I keep sitting clothes in my ship. I change out of them. I take them off. I go off the ship. My stuff's on the ship all the time. It does not bother me at all.
It's just about planning. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it sucks when your ship explodes, but like, don't get your ship exploded, you know?
I do wish that we could like have, I don't know, pick out pieces of a wardrobe and go, well, I want to wear my mining uniform, or I want to wear my FPS armor, or I want to wear my cat suit.
Yeah.
Or I want to wear this civilian attire.
Yeah.
And then it puts it all on you instead of strolling through, okay, where's that damn helmet?
Yeah, having pre setups where you can just like go to this like my closet 1 and then just clicking the like just like put this on sort of thing. Something that makes sense, because I do this because I been getting back into I have been working out for the last six months now, where like I'll go through and I'll do laundry and I'll take like workout clothes and I'll leave it right beside my bed because I know the next day I'm gonna get up and get dressed and go work out. And so that's something I do on a normal basis. I should be able to do something like that. Like I know this is my ship that I always do this thing in. I'm gonna be able to have this ship laid out, ready to go. And I think that's also containers. Where like if you have a closet, you can go to a closet and be like, this closet always has my stuff in it. I'm just gonna pop it in. It's a lot easier. Yeah. So
Fist, you can't wear heavy armor and have 2 guns strapped to your backpack and sit in a pilot chair. That's not realistic.
No.
Fist, I feel for you that you have to watch Jawa when he's in his cat suit instead of his cat armor. If he's wearing the cat armor, he's okay. But if he's in his cat suit, dude, I'm feeling for you. All right.
He's full furry sometimes. You know.
Okay. I feel for you, man.
All right.
I'll up on your stream sometime that way there.
Okay.
Okay. Black Sky Legion points it out. Sherry being savage when discussing why she loves the Star Citizen community, answering that they never forget a date. Did it make anyone else love her as much as I do? Yes, yes is the only acceptable answer. That was being savage in multiple ways, because I think Sherry was mentioning more the fact that the lore aficionados we're those nerds. Mm-hmm. It says in here that this was discovered in this date, but this was discovered in this date, and it said how this could be impossible. Like, that is what I do all the time. And I sit there and go, this is a mistake. Why are you like, what do these dates don't make sense? Mm-hmm. And so it makes hard to kind of process it for me as a content creator. But I can also imagine for most lore folks, like, how could you have discovered this system, when through this system, when this system was discovered here? those sorts of things. I think that's what she was referencing. But the double entendre of everyone trying to remember everything about dates is also quite savage. That was quite bloody, and that is very Sherry, though. She is a meme lord at heart. All right.
Awesome.
And if you really want to know anything about alien languages and alien cultures, Sherry's the one you go to, because Jail and a bunch of the other alien languages folks talk with her all the time about that stuff. So
Awesome.
All right. Z242 bot or Z242 bot asks, or pilot bot, man, it is. I'm sorry, it has been 12 hours. So, do you think we should see more variants of ships? Like, I think the Spirit is begging for an ambulance build with stasis and lights, or refueling Cuddy, mining Connie, etc. Yeah, more variants is always better. I've been saying refueling Cuddy for forever. It's a perfect ship for that, because you know it's going to be. It's just going to be, they just put refueling tanks in the back of a Cuddy Black. It's because that's Drake. It's just attach something to what we already have and not even bother changing it.
I'm all for modularity, but I'm also all for. Well, I said that wrong. I'm all for variety, but I'm also all for modularity, right?
Yeah.
Like, let me take my Spirit, cargo Spirit, and I add the fuel module in there, and now it's a refueler. I don't have any cargo space, but I can go refuel people.
Yeah.
Not as well, right? But stuff like that, trade-offs.
Yeah. What do y'all think? Y'all think want more variants?
I like the modularity idea that Fist brought up. Instead of, getting the same ship, but now it's for this, but you can just buy different modules for it.
Yeah.
And just like with the Cuddy, it's easy. You just slide out one module out of the back, slide the other one in there. Hey, now it's a Cuddy red. Now it's a Cuddy blue.
Yeah, there's a part of me that leans toward what you all were saying earlier about certain manufacturers in particular, like Argo, the ones that lean more toward utility and support. I don't mind seeing other manufacturers do it, but I'm also curious to see what CIG is going to do with other manufacturers or ships that we don't know about yet. You mentioned earlier, Fist, about alien ships that start to come in. If they're alien manufacturers, we've got the one, what's the freaking Xi'an ship that we've got, the Gatak. We've only just got one from that manufacturer, so we can see if something more comes from them. So CIG has told us that they've got more ships and stuff in the pipeline, so it'll be interesting to see what they come up with. But variants are cool. Variants are cool.
All right.
Both is good.
We've got.
Let Paul get some air. How many more you got?
The last one, because there's one that's from Fast Card.
Go on your porch for 5 minutes and get fresh air after this, please. All right, you'll feel better. Get out of the house for a minute.
Paul, yes, Paul, how are you doing with your new Redeemer? Asking for a friend. Shut up, Fast Card. I hate you. You're the reason why I had it in the first place. He's the one who made the joke. Last 24-hour live stream, actually. He made the joke the last 24-hour live stream that I did of this, that CIG should give me an unmenthable, unredeemable, or like ungiftable, unupgradable Redeemer. And so CIG's done that. Thank you, Fast Card.
There you go.
All right. Black Sky Legion, last question, which is, after seeing SitCon in Toto, did it push your estimates for Pyro 42 back or forward or unchanged? Best guess from everyone. Go ahead with you there, Griffin.
I'm still thinking second quarter next year or third quarter next year, so it hasn't changed anything.
Fist?
Unfortunately, I think it's going to be tied to a marketing event, and that makes sense. It's so I am thinking Invictus, so second quarter of next year.
Okay, Jawa.
I'm with Griff. I'm thinking latter part of next year.
I'm thinking IAE next year. This would be my guess.
Oh, okay.
Wow,
I've been thinking that for a while. Just because it's like, a bunch of things could go wrong between now and then, and I'm just anticipating that CIG has not anticipated any of that. So they seem to be going on best case scenario situations, and whenever they do that, it's like, it's probably going to something to slip. So, but I've thought that before SitCon, so it didn't change. Like, what surprised me was that they don't have Pyro 5 done, and I think someone else asked, is like, how can they have? I saw this earlier. Like, how could they have? They haven't even finished Pyro, and it's been 2 years. And the answer is most likely they didn't finish Pyro because they didn't bother to finish Pyro because there was a bunch of other things they had to do or wanted to do, and so they stopped working on Pyro because they needed to get other things done. And there was no rush for it. So it's less of a, it's been 2 years, they didn't finish it, and more of a, it's been 2 years, but probably not 2 years of work. Maybe 6 months of work over that 2 years because they put it down and did other things, or just only had one person working on it. It's that kind of, you don't work on it unless there's a reason to work on it. And if there's no reason to work on it because Ruined Station isn't done, or because they need to get Crusader out or whatever, they just don't worry about it. So.
You might be right, Paul, because Jax needs to return. So
Yes.
we gotta tie it into Jax coming back, right?
So it's just going to be Jimmy this year. It's going to be completely quiet.
Quiet charades.
No commentary for Ryan.
No, I've said that Jax would come back this year with something that would be a surprise, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
can I have a small plug here, real quick?
Sure.
Paul? Hey, since you love the Retaliator or the Redeemer,
yeah.
Jawa hates the Star Kitten Dragonfly. Just to if anybody, if there's anything he could spend any money on in a heartbeat, it would be the Star Kitten Dragonfly. So
yeah,
if you're listening to CIG, if you ever want to make $50 from Jawa Sparky,
yes,
I think those would sell like hotcakes if they brought them back. But
I do think so as well. You can only win them by like referral program and stuff like that. And I think we definitely need more Star Kitten paints as well. I agree, Del. We need the Steve, the Gray Cat Steve, the STV needs to have its own.
Yes,
cool. Barbie mobile pink with a Star Kitten on it. Perfect. Mwah. It's just no stop right there. It's perfect. The Barbie Jeep is perfect. Just do it.
Idris Star Kitten.
Yes. All right. So we're burning time through and making sure to get to other people on. So thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you check out fistandjawa.org for their wonderful content, and check out Soul Citizens on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday right now.
In 50 minutes.
And Sunday.
In 50 minutes.
So go check them out. And for all sorts of wonderful Star Citizen content. And if you're watching this after the fact, like the video, subscribe, and comment down below. I do want to know your thoughts on these questions and maybe your own questions. I do read all the comments. I try to, at least, and maybe not comment on all of them, but I do read all of them. So I do want to hear your thoughts on any of these discussions. And like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black.